Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
I'm telling you, man, go full Aries build.
I've tried, but I'm still using the spike collar.
Oh, well, let's see, there's your issue. You got to use the blood-filled vial. That's the way to go.
No, absolutely not. No. What? Everyone knows vice president / manager is a meaningless title. No, because then he gets second draft pick on alternate years. Read the thing. Damn it, that's right.
Hey, guys, what are you yelling about here?
Oh, hey, Noah. Hey, Cecil. It's this week's essay. After learning about Gregor MacGregor's titles, we'll realize we never really worked out our roles on the podcast. So
yeah, and Heath is trying to be CEO and president. They're two different jobs. It's two different things, right, which is why you can't do both. Because they're two
guys. The whole point of the essay is that the titles MacGregor gave out were meaningless. He was a con man.
See, that's what I've been telling them. I don't listen to him.
Okay, but in the company, we're actually going to use the roles.
Yeah. Oh, are we? For what?
For who has to use the bathroom after Eli?
Dibs on vice president /
manager. God damn it.
See, this stuff is important. Well, or you could not drink mango nectar for every single meal. No.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Sir No Illusions of the Hamptonshire Illusions, and I'm going to be hosting this evening's soiree, but I brought along some good old egarks to join me. First up, two men who put the crass in aristocracy, Tom and Cecil.
Yeah, take a moment and think about the aristocracy and recognize the high bar that sets me.
I am fond of generous buttocks, and I cannot deceive you. I cannot.
And also joining us tonight are two men who already have the crust. They just need the uppers, Heath and Eli.
Yeah, I've got a day. I do. So it's not. But and is it so much that I ask for my sandwiches to be cut in concentric, ever diminishing circles?
Yes,
it's not that hard.
Yes,
people.
It's
not that hard.
Ask, actually.
And quick, before we get started with yet another story about one of the many dishonest ways of making way more money than podcasting is ever going to pay that we're apparently experts in, I want to remind you that we don't have to be here. But if you'd like to learn how to keep us here, be sure to stick around to the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today, we're going to be talking about Gregor MacGregor.
All right, Heath, you consider
Thank you
this
for not doing an offensive
I was
voice.
gonna, but I pulled it back at the last minute, Heath.
I heard you pull it. I can wait. Start,
Eli, can you chime in and just fill
can
it
you do
in
it real quick?
Gregor MacGregor.
There we go. There it is. All right, so Heath, you consider this story a great deal before settling on a major. Are you ready to weave this tale for us?
Ready to weave. Let's do it.
All right, so who was Gregor MacGregor?
Gregor MacGregor was a soldier, military commander, world adventurer, Latin American revolutionary cosplayer, and probably the greatest con man in history. He spent his entire life coming up with bigger and bigger lies and compounding them and making money on each new thing. And he eventually managed to convince thousands of people in Europe that he was the crown prince of a fictional country in Central America and sold them timeshares that they couldn't afford not to buy. He invented that in 1822.
Wait.
Beautiful.
You're telling me the subject of this essay, a man essentially named Scotland McScottish, was not an honest businessman? No.
Right. Yeah. No, dishonest businessman.
Scottish.
Okay, so before we get rolling, I probably have some initial questions. Did I choose the story of Gregor MacGregor because it's an allegory for Donald Trump? Is there a tie-in with the Etruscans? Just tell my fucking story? Great, I'm going to tell my fucking story. So, Gregor MacGregor was born on Christmas Eve of 1786 at the ancestral home of the Clan MacGregor. The family had just recently been allowed by King George III to start using their name again without getting hunted down for being anti-royalty outlaws for the last few centuries. Now, that describes most of Ireland and Scotland for most of history, but the MacGregor clan had a logo thing and
a coat of arms.
The arms coat, yep, and a signature tartan kilt pattern. So they were fancy outlaws.
I think I know exactly what you mean by fancy outlaws.
Can't imagine you do.
Say there, partner. That amuse bouche is supposed to be a single bat.
Well, then I reckon the plating.
Well, them's killing words, boy.
See, this is why we don't let you call Harkless. We just don't allow you to do that.
Okay, it's called the Doodly Doo, Cecil, and that was
It's
excellent.
not
That was
called
an
a Doodly
excellent.
Doo.
I don't know if it was. I'm embarrassed to be a part of that one.
Regardless, I want everybody in old-timey Scotland to sound like
Yeah.
that. Like, okay, moving on. Just side note here. Fun fact. One of those outlaw ancestors of MacGregor's was his great-great-uncle, Rob Roy, who became a folk hero for his role in the Jacobite rebellions of 1715 and 1745 that tried to steal back the British throne from the Catholic House of Stuart. And Rob Roy's life eventually inspired an operetta and a drink. On opening night of the operetta in New York, a bartender at the Waldorf Astoria invented the Rob Roy cocktail. Now, sadly, it's just a stupid fucking ripoff of a Manhattan, but with scotch instead of rye, which is revolting and a waste of scotch.
Yeah, he was like, this Manhattan already tastes like drinking from that big jar barbers put their stuff in, but could it burn?
It could.
The Rob Roy can be served straight up over ice, or as I prefer them, down the drain.
Giant waste. Thank you.
Good thing there's no Etruscan tie-in, though, or we might have gotten off subject here somehow.
All right, everybody remember, we're talking about Gregor MacGregor. So Rob Roy, being Gregor MacGregor's great-great-uncle and actually having accomplishments, is real. Rob Roy did have accomplishments. And that's the end of the truth for the rest of the story.
Wait, did Eli write the rest?
Events happen. Events are going to happen. But everything Gregor MacGregor says or does is infused with some kind of giant lie. And it starts right away when he joins the British Army at age 16 and claims to have studied at the University of Edinburgh between 1802 and 1803, which is technically zero amount of time. But that's not what he meant. Either way, there's no record of him going there or getting a degree of any kind. It's possible he physically went to the campus at some point.
It's like Marky Mark. He hung around Harvard and got real smart by osmosis, you know?
That's
like,
it, yeah.
You wasted $150,000 on education you could have got for $1.50 in late fees at the public fucking library. How do you like them apples?
Would have been so much better with Marky.
It was 100% better. 100% better than the same guy.
I would
So
never
much
stop
better.
watching that movie.
So MacGregor entered the army in April of 1803 and immediately had an officer's rank because his family purchased him an officer's rank.
Jesus, he should have bought him bone spurs. If you could buy him anything, buy him bone spurs.
So he was an ensign, and that cost 450 pounds, which is about $60,000 in today's money. But apparently his dad wouldn't keep buying him new ranks, so he decided to marry a rich lady. While stationed in Gibraltar, he met Maria Bowater, the daughter of an admiral in the British Navy, who was also related to two generals in the army, and the very important botanist, Aylmer Bourke Lambert. So MacGregor fucked his way into some of that sweet botany money and bought himself a big promotion up to the rank of captain. That cost 900 pounds, or about $120,000. Can't imagine how the UK lost their empire,
Yeah.
but apparently that's the system in the military.
Okay, but Heath, to be entirely fair, a lot of people were fairly well convinced that Bloomberg was going to buy himself commander.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, it's not like
But
we don't have a.
Don't worry,
same
America.
system.
The more than half of Congress that are millionaires got there on their merits, though. I'm sure we'll be fine. Our empire, though, will be.
Biden did it with the Burisma money. So Captain MacGregor and his unit got sent to Portugal in 1809 to help drive the French out of Spain during the Peninsular War. While he was there, he became a giant stickler about wearing all the rank insignia and medals and all the ridiculous uniform details. The lowest level soldiers weren't even allowed to leave their tent without a full dress uniform. And that's fucking stupid. So even his superiors hated him. Apparently, this led to a big fight over some ridiculous detail with his commander, and it turned into a giant feud that got so big, MacGregor was forced to request a discharge, and everyone hated him, so he got that no problem. And somehow, he also got back the $180,000 he spent on buying promotions.
What?
They gave him a refund.
I didn't think you got to keep the security deposit when you evicted a lieutenant. I thought that was not. Lieutenant is a. Forget it.
Show me your tits.
Show me them. There they are. Look at them.
Whip them out.
Yeah.
There it is.
No frosting on those bad boys.
I'm disturbed by the first listener principle of
I
this
was
running
just
joke.
thinking
You know?
that. Some guy was like, you know what, hon? You like that podcast. I'll give it a try. Show me your tits. Show me your shitty
We just
tits.
do that. We just do that sometimes. So, Gregor MacGregor went back to the UK, moved with his wife from London to Edinburgh, started calling himself the Colonel, like fucking chicken guy, wore a fake badge and claimed to be a Knight of Portugal, and drove around Scotland in a bright red coach trying to become part of the aristocracy. But everyone hated him there because of everything I just mentioned and his personality in general. So he moved back to London after that and tried the same thing to get into the aristocracy. This time, he added baronet to his title and also claimed to be the chieftain of the MacGregor clan. So he was Sir Gregor MacGregor, the Colonel Knight Baronet Chieftain. Apparently,
That's a lot to put on one business card. It's just, I don't know how you fit.
It worked.
Like vice president manager.
Apparently, those extra couple of lies did the trick, and he quickly became part of London's high society.
They let you do anything when you're Michigan Man of the Year. I'm just telling you guys, they let you do anything. Grab him by the
Is that a
pussy.
thing?
Grab him by the
They give
pussy.
out?
Yeah.
So, Colonel Knight Baronet Chieftain MacGregor was doing great for a little while in
I
London.
believe that's Sir Colonel Knight Baronet Chieftain MacGregor.
Sorry,
Right?
sir. Yep.
Yes. His
Got it.
lordship.
But then his rich wife died, and he had no more in-law money.
And to my husband, I leave nothing, because it was not just the size of his rank he was exaggerating about.
And his only job experience was in the army that he had to quit for being a giant asshole. But he noticed that a Venezuelan revolutionary leader, General Francisco de Miranda, was treated super nicely in London during a visit. So MacGregor figured the best move was to get into the Latin American military coup sector.
Hey,
That's
it
what he
worked
did.
for the USA.
Yeah. Damn right it did.
Doctrine
Really,
and
really did.
everything.
It's a very good point. So in 1812, he sold all his stuff, moved to Venezuela, found General Miranda, and got himself a job. This was made extra easy by mentioning his Portuguese knighthood and his rank as an officer in the famous military unit called the Diehards during that campaign in Portugal and Spain. Now, second thing is actually true. They were called the Diehards, but that unit didn't get that nickname until about a year after MacGregor got forced to retire for being a huge dick. MacGregor's back in the military. He doesn't have any money to buy a better rank this time. And that means he can either actually earn a promotion or marry another rich lady. He went with rich lady and married Josefa Lovera from a wealthy family in Caracas, who also happened to be the cousin of Simón Bolívar, who was about to become the leader of the revolution there. So MacGregor immediately became a brigadier general just in time to lose a big battle against the Spanish colonial forces and flee the country. He spent the next few years name-dropping his way into leadership spots and then losing more battles. And according to a biographer, the zenith of MacGregor's military career in South America was a really successful retreat in 1816.
Oh.
When he was super good at leading his troops to run away from the Spanish army.
I mean, I guess you give a man enough experience, right? And he just comes into his own.
I like the way you cower, sir. Well done.
Yeah, that was in the biography. So
Pin a medal on his ass or something.
So MacGregor's coming off that amazing retreat, and he has a letter of commendation from Simón Bolívar himself that MacGregor definitely didn't just forge. The letter says, "In my opinion, that retreat is superior to the conquest of an empire.
Really?
Please accept my congratulations for the prodigious services you have rendered my country. Love, the real Simón Bolívar." So MacGregor shows that super real letter to General Juan Arismendi and asks for a new job. And Arismendi sends him to the United States to recruit an army and take over Florida from Spain. So MacGregor puts together about 80 men from South Carolina and Georgia. He raises $160,000 by selling those people MacGregor bucks. They're going to be worth a whole bunch of money. Yep.
That's my favorite thing.
MacGregor bucks. Then he gets you a bunch of that amazing northern Florida swampland eventually. And he sails from Charleston to Amelia Island, just off the northeast coast of Florida. And somehow he convinces the Spanish commander on that island to surrender without even firing a shot, even though their forces are about equal in size. So MacGregor plants a flag and declares himself the sovereign leader of the Republic of all the Floridas.
And thus, Florida Man was born.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that sounds impossibly stupid, but the result was Florida, so I get it. I get
Right.
Yeah, you know, this actually marked the last time Florida made a single fucking decision in a timely fashion. So.
They picked their electoral votes real fast. On
Yeah, they
fucking
sure
election
did.
day.
They sure did.
So Spain hears about this tiny island getting taken over, and they still own all the Floridas despite MacGregor's new title, and both sides gear up for battle. But MacGregor's whole plan immediately falls apart. The rest of his recruits from the U.S. never show up, and the troops he already had were quickly realizing how stupid the mission really was, especially because they were getting paid in Amelia dollars that MacGregor printed himself as the currency of all the Floridas.
All of them.
Their tank was made out of air mile points and it just falls apart on the way to battlefield.
The one guy is being dragged back onto the boat, but he said we could pick anything from the box. Anything!
He's so mad he didn't think of that. So MacGregor is looking across the water, the mainland, and there's a giant Spanish army. So he says to his team, "Okay, we're going to do this. I'm just going to be right back. I have to just check something." And he sails away with his wife to the Bahamas. Yep. He never pays back the investors who bought the MacGregor bucks or the Amelia dollars. The 4x value of that Amelia dollar never really goes anywhere. And the team he left behind does not end up owning all the Floridas. But MacGregor was able to forge some medallions down in the Bahamas that said, "Amelia, I came, I saw, I conquered." And then he sailed back to London in order to set up another fake navy with fake money and steal something from Spain again.
How did things go on my mission to Florida? Caesarean is how they fucking went. Read the medallion. See?
You know, for a guy who married his way into money, he is working way too hard. I mean, his job should just be to be hard. That's how marrying into money works.
Sounds great. So
Too much work.
he's back in England, and once again, MacGregor tricked a bunch of idiots into joining his team. He raised money by undercutting the British army and selling officer ranks way cheaper. And
Some things
He
you don't want to
enlisted-
get at a discount. Yeah, okay.
you get what you pay for. He enlisted hundreds of Irish volunteers by offering Caribbean futures.
A 2-day trip to Sandals.
Yeah, basically.
But Eli, I can drink well liquor and vomit in my sleep at home. I don't.
Go
I don't
away for
Right.
that.
Or in the Caribbean, Tom. So that was the sales pitch. On November 18th, 1818, they sailed from London to Panama. When they arrived, everyone was very eager to take over a city. but MacGregor got all distracted by setting up the rules of heraldry for his team. He's convinced they were the Knights of the Green Cross. That was their title. And this almost led to a mutiny, but he finally agreed to attack the city of Portobello. And this actually worked, and his team defeated the Spanish force while he watched from offshore. So he set up shop in Portobello. Amazing. But then he immediately got all wrapped up in the rules of knighthood again.
God, this is like trying to read Game of Thrones.
Yes. It's very similar. So he gets all wrapped up in that shit. His troops, they stop paying attention. They get wasted on rum. And the Spanish easily take back the port.
Okay, whatever. We surrender. But can you guys weigh in on whether a vice corporal is higher than an assistant general? We live in a society.
So much stupid fighting about that. Yeah. So that's when MacGregor sailed away again, abandoning the entire team. He was checking on something.
Oh, my God.
All of whom either got killed or enslaved. So that wasn't great. But he figured the problem was only trying it once. So he got a new team and did the exact same thing in a different city, Rio de la Hacha. And once again, he sailed away at the last second in failure, and all his troops got killed.
Somewhere there's a Trump supporter waiting for a shuttle bus thinking all these people are suckers, man. Just suckers.
All right. Well, I guess now that Heath's made it impossible for the host to segue out without you guys assuming I'm just going to leave, we'll pause for a very suspicious throw to apropos of nothing.
My dearest King of England, all goes well here in Finland.
Florida, sir.
Aye, Florida, like I said, I'm writing to request funds that we may finally...
Excuse me, High Commander, Commandant, Admiral Baron MacGregor.
Yes, Vice Assistant Corporal General of the 3rd Rank Jones. What do you need?
It's the Spanish, sir. They approach our flank.
Ah, I see. Who have we stationed there?
Assistant General Commander Brigadier Corporal Private Smith, sir.
Aye, he's a good man, but he'll need support. Send him Half-Stem and Commander Captain Pink Pank Williams.
Sir, do you think that Prince Captain Corporal Admiral Assistant Lieutenant General Jones would be a better choice?
Good thinking, man. That's why I made you Captain General Assistant Lieutenant Brigadier Corporal Monkey Chicken Fish Bear Frog 2nd Private Admiral.
And I thank you for that, sir.
See that it's done, Vice Assistant Corporal General of the 3rd Rank.
Sorry, sir. While we were talking, they won the battle.
I see. Ooh, what's that over there?
Where?
He's gone.
Yeah. And we're back. When we last left off, Heath was explaining how we were working too hard. Heath, keep telling me about the job that is even griftier than Patreon-supported podcaster. It makes me feel good inside. It makes me feel good.
All right. Well, that brings us to Gregor MacGregor's greatest, worst accomplishment, and possibly the largest con of all time, the Poyet scheme. So he leaves Rio de la Hacha and starts planning his next move. He's wanted for piracy in Jamaica. He's a well-known murderous idiot in the entire region. And Simon Bolivar wants to hang him for treason if he ever sets foot in South America again. So he sails to the Gulf of Honduras in 1820 and somehow lies his way into being friends with King George Frederick Augustus of the Mosquito Coast. Now, nobody really pays attention to this area in 1820, but they're technically a British kingdom.
Hard to believe that the King of Mosquito Coast wasn't on everybody's invitation list when the Prince of fucking Chigger Bay is hogging all the spotlight, I guess. What the fuck?
So, yeah, British authorities didn't want Spain taking over the territory, but they didn't want to do it themselves either. So they just named a few people king, including this guy, George. So MacGregor trades the king some rum and some polyatomic gold trinkets in exchange for 8 million acres of land. He names it Poyet. He names himself Cazique of Poyet. that's the Crown Prince, and he sails back to England to do some timeshare presentations.
Okay, you know you're running out of fake titles when you have to go to other languages.
Yeah, right. Why not just the pink tank of Poirier, right?
So MacGregor's back in London, and nobody seems to know about his colossal failure at every single thing he did. One of the lieutenants that MacGregor abandoned to get executed in Panama actually had a British historian brother who wrote a whole book about all those failures. But everyone just remembers the fake victories in Spain and Portugal that, again, MacGregor lied about being involved in. Plus, Kazik sounds super
Great
fucking cool.
Scrabble word.
So he became a big deal in London again. And he got himself invited to the coronation of King George IV, where he made his pitch to get investment money and British immigrants for his magical kingdom of Poitiers. And it worked. Pretty soon, he had Poitiers liaison offices in London, Edinburgh, and Glasgow to sell handwritten land certificates for the new colony.
He managed to work his pitch into a coronation ceremony?
Yep.
And if you want to feel like a king yourself, why not buy yourself a little bit of Poitiers today? The crown jewel of the Mosquito. Come on.
So here is the sales pitch for Poitiers. It had a tricameral parliament. That's
Well, that's
exciting.
50% better than the UK right there.
Exactly. Crushing it.
Way
Also,
more camel.
A commercial banking system, fancy uniforms for its army,
Nice.
a very elaborate knighthood system,
Gotta have one of those.
and a coat of arms with unicorns. No, it didn't. It had none of that stuff. This is all made up. But MacGregor printed up a 355-page leather-bound
Jesus.
guidebook about this tropical paradise, entirely composed of lies, the entire book. He described the climate of the Mosquito Coast as remarkably healthy, agreeing admirably with the constitution of Europeans.
A footnote, also fertile ground for the burgeoning biotech industry, since you'll have no shortage of blood-borne diseases to cure. Fuck.
Yes, you will. He also told everyone the soil was so fucking fertile, you could get 3 different maize harvests a year and also grow large crops of other chief exports like sugar, tobacco, and malaria. He also made up a capital city called St. Joseph with a theater, an opera house, a domed cathedral, a central bank, a parliament hall, and a royal palace. And the rivers all contained, quote, globules of pure gold.
Well, because why not?
All lying. This is all lying.
Really? Look, you guys might be laughing at this description, but the world has 2.25 billion Christians and nearly as many Muslims believe in one way less plausible.
that's
stuff.
right.
So the investors went crazy for Poitiers. It seemed too good to be true, but it did have a leather book. So it started with thousands of people handing over their entire life savings to buy Poitiers land.
Oh my God.
And then he really ramped it up by securing a loan from a big London bank of £200,000. That's about 24 million pounds today.
Jesus.
He was using the future revenue of Poitiers as collateral for that loan.
Wait, did he start Enron at the same time? What the fuck?
And then
My collateral is the money I will make if you give me this money.
again, if he had figured out how to deregulate the energy sector of Poitiers, he would have made so much money. It's
Poirier would
unfortunate.
have gotten a bailout before all the actors and waiters in New York City.
So he gets that loan, and then he sold bonds that actually got issued on the London Stock Exchange. They were marked down to only 80% of face value, so it was a deal, and they offered a 6% annual interest rate. Now, these are all just nonsense numbers because it was based on fucking nothing, but all of this stuff sold like crazy. This was the first part of the scam that eventually got him named the founding father of securities fraud.
The next week, he's tweeting, Poirier's stock price is too high, in my opinion. It's just too high.
I was going to say, all he needs is an army of Bitcoin sad boys, and he can start selling flamethrowers, right?
Right?
I mean,
Right?
That's our guy.
So the biggest targets in terms of immigrants were MacGregor's fellow Scotsmen. He got them all pumped up about how Scottish hardiness was perfect for the new colony, and they all came along.
Okay, wait, that's not a good selling point on future life endeavors when you look like you don't die easily is on the brochure. Why do I need to be hardy for that?
Should have been a tip-off. He also claimed to be the direct ancestor of one of the guys who led the Darien scheme.
Wait, what?
That was a selling point somehow. If you remember the Darien scheme, that's the disastrous attempt by the government of Scotland at doing pretty much this exact same settlement project in Panama in the 1690s. Despite being literally an episode of this show and a tragic failure, again, this was somehow useful in selling his idea. Also, he was definitely lying about his ancestor being involved. Everything he says is a lie. Regardless, he got hundreds of people signed up right away and gave them all ridiculous titles in the Poyasian army that did not exist, just to be clear again. He even made a cobbler from Edinburgh the official shoemaker to the Princess of Poyais. There was no princess. And really, there was no Poyais.
Just a little mushroom kid in a diaper with a sign that says the Princess of Poyais is in a different castle.
Oh, this Portobello shit is starting to make sense now. Okay.
Mushroom, nailed it. So the first ship of European settlers took off on September 10th of 1822 with 5,000 Bank of Poyais dollars. And everyone was very happy to exchange their actual British money for the legal tender of their destination.
Jesus.
But when they arrived, the convenience of, skipping the currency exchange booth wasn't that helpful because there was literally nothing there. The leader of the party was a guy named Hector Hall, lieutenant colonel of the 2nd Native Regiment of Foot, assistant to the regional cazique, and royal owner of a 13,000-acre royal estate. That's 13,000 acres in today's acres. After the welcoming party from the futuristic mosquito city of St. Joseph didn't show up as planned with all the welcoming gifts, Lieutenant Hall quickly realized that his title was way too silly to be real and that MacGregor obviously just tricked everyone. But he kept quiet about that so the whole party wouldn't freak out, and he told them all to set up camp while he sailed off to look for the Mosquito King, George Augustus, and figure out what was going on.
He's just like, you know what? I bet the all-you-can-eat buffet is on the other side of the island. I'm gonna go check. Why don't you guys draw straws while I'm gone? Just for fun. Might come in handy later to know who drew the short straw.
So the landing party had some basic supplies from the ship, but no reliable source of food and water once that ran out, and nothing but dense jungle if they went inland at all. So it got really bad almost immediately. According to historian Alfred Hasbrook, quote, disease spread rapidly.
And really? At Mosquito Coast? Yeah. Okay.
Real fast with the disease. He also added lack of proper food and water and failure to take the requisite sanitary precautions brought on intermittent fever and dysentery. Many were so weak as to be unable to crawl to the woods for the common offices of nature. The stench arising from the filth was unendurable. End quote. Also, the official shoemaker to the Princess of Poyais shot himself in the face.
Good for him.
Right?
Wait, am I the only one picturing how long that stuffy-ass historian chewed on his pen while he tried to think of a fancy way of saying they were constantly shitting themselves? The common offices of nature.
Some florid language for that. So, Lieutenant Colonel Hall finally managed to find the Mosquito King and brought him back to the landing spot. And the king saw the giant piles of shit all over their little beach camp. And he was like, fuck. Well, why wouldn't you guys move down the beach a little bit as it piled up? I don't know why you stay right here. And the settlers was like, no, yeah, we did that. Look at all the piles down that way. And the king was like, wow, rough. Okay. Also, there's obviously no such thing as Poyais or a cazique of Poyais. You had to know that was fake. You're all stupid. And you have to leave now. This is my stuff. So they all got picked up by a British Navy ship and went to Honduras, and then eventually tried to settle in the U.S. or go home to England. Of the original 250 settlers, 180 had already died, and a bunch more never made their destination. They were super sick trying to go. Meanwhile, back in England, MacGregor had already enlisted hundreds more people as part of the scam, and 5 more ships were on the way to the shit piles. But luckily, the British authorities in Honduras sent ships to intercept them and turn them around.
Wow.
So back in London, MacGregor found out that exactly the tragedy he was planning had happened, and that a really small party of his surviving victims were about to arrive. So he fled to Paris. And despite British newspapers writing all about the scheme, he started selling timeshares in France.
What? I was getting a
what? I don't know. I don't understand. He's my hero, but not. It's amazing. So he's in Paris, and this is working. It included a letter to the King of Spain in which MacGregor claimed to be a descendant of the ancient kings of Scotland. He's the chieftain, remember?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And also Cazique of Poitiers, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And he offered to lead an army based in Poitiers that would take a bunch of the land in that region that MacGregor had literally been trying to steal from Spain for most of his career. Spain took a pass on that.
MacGregor tries hitting up his Facebook friends to invite them to a girls' night so he can sell them unsafe dildos. It's a whole thing.
All right, the story behind that joke's inspiration deserves its own episode. Anyway. I just want to
Really
drill
does.
down so far.
So the King of Spain plan didn't work, but MacGregor did make a deal in France. Somehow he found a very major French trading firm that was willing to buy 500,000 acres in Poitiers to start their own colony. And he got another bank loan, this time for 300,000 pounds.
Jesus.
For 36 million pounds.
God.
He also printed out another leather-bound sales prospectus,
Nice.
this time only 40 pages, called Some Account of the Poitiers Country.
What? That's because it's 10% as big as the last one that he
Yeah,
used.
Well, with the allure of that very coy title, he got a bunch of people to sign up again. But when all these French people applied for passports to a country that didn't fucking exist, the French government was like, no, you're all stupid. And the ship got stopped from leaving France at the last second.
When France says this is a stupid idea, you know you're fucked. I mean, this is the country that still thinks Quebec was a good idea.
Okay, Heath, quick question, but like, why would you even need a passport if you're colonizing something?
Right.
Don't ask questions.
Don't get me wrong, it seems polite, but it's rather out of the spirit of the thing, you know? Not.
Yeah, I guess he didn't see that one coming. So the French government, they looked into it, and they had MacGregor arrested. While he was in jail, he wrote a statement declaring his innocence, claiming he was the victim of a Spanish intelligence plot, and also demanding diplomatic immunity because, you know, he's the Cazique of Poitiers.
Right, yeah.
He demanded that just in case they didn't believe the thing about the Spanish espionage. Those were both in the same statement. France ignored all that, and he went to trial. But his magical fucking lawyer somehow successfully argued that MacGregor was actually the victim, and the owner of the French trading company defrauded him.
Great lawyer.
And the charges were dropped.
What?
But then the French police finally found that owner guy, the French guy, who was on the lam, and they started up a new trial for both men. The French guy ended up getting 13 months in jail.
What?
And the Cazique of Poitiers was acquitted of all charges.
Oh my God, this guy's amazing.
Fantastic.
All right, the prosecution should never have hired Marcia Clark's great-great-grandfather. That was a mistake.
That's such a great deep cut. All the young people who listen to our podcast are Googling Marcia Clark right now.
She from the professional football player murdered somebody, but it didn't get in
The
trouble.
glove didn't fit, guys. The glove did not fit. That's the.
So now it's 1826. MacGregor was obviously innocent, and he went back to London again to sell more timeshares. He went to the exact same bank from last time.
What?
Got a loan for 800,000 pounds this time.
Man,
96 million pounds today. And started selling bonds again.
How is he getting all these? For fuck's
I don't
sake,
know.
the U.S. mortgage industry had better monetary controls in 2007. What are you fucking kidding me?
He was rated AAA by Moody's. I don't know what to tell you, Tom. He also started selling more of those Poitiers land certificates. But then, this is my favorite part, the new Mosquito King, so Frederick Augustus got replaced, the new guy from Mosquito Coast showed up in London and sold thousands of similar land certificates that covered the exact same land. Now, it seems like that would make the whole scheme blow up. But instead, it just slightly lowered the market price of Poirier stuff because of mild skepticism. This also led to a bunch of other con men in London realizing this is fucking genius. What if we just sell land from a fictional place too? It's apparently working. And this flooded market for acreage in Poirier continued in London for about 12 more years with Gregor MacGregor as the industry leader.
Wow. The guy selling them outside Four Seasons Total Landscaping made a killing on these. An absolute killing.
Gregor MacGregor has tons of money at this point, but also tons of debt. And in 1838, he just left with the money part and sailed to Venezuela.
Awesome.
When he got there, he convinced the government that he was Simón Bolívar's secret number 2 a couple decades ago.
What?
Got restored to his made-up rank in their military, including back pay and a giant pension.
What?
And he lived the rest of his life in luxury in Caracas.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
In total, his scams netted him a fortune that was equivalent in buying power to about 190 billion American dollars in 2020. He died astronomically wealthy, never convicted of one single crime.
Oh my God.
Wow. Unreal.
Wow. I'm scared to ask, but if you had to summarize what you learned in one sentence, Heath, what would it be?
I want the last check I write to bounce and to be for 190 billion American dollars.
And are you ready for the quiz?
I am ready.
All right, Heath. What's the national motto of Poirier? A. Poirier. E pauperis unum. B. Poirier.
Not even that close.
Du et mon droit.
What?
That's the British.
What is that? What is that reference to?
It's the English one is God is my command.
Okay,
God?
just go. No, just soldier past it. Just go to the next one. Just go to the next one.
See, don't worry. I put that one in the middle because the third one's so good. See,
yeah, no, it's
third one's
important to pace
rocking
it
it.
out.
yeah,
Yep.
Poirier, where the shit hits the sand.
Because sand rhymes with fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think he's going for.
Sand does rhyme with fan. It's C.
That's what he's
Correct.
going.
Was it C?
I should have changed my question to, do you remember what happened at the Four Seasons garden check? Would have crushed it.
All right, Heath. Clearly, MacGregor was a very bad man, but he was also a very bad man with $190 billion.
Thank you.
So, Heath, what is the price tag for my morals? A. I don't know, but it's a lot fucking less than $190 billion.
So much less than that.
I'm going to stop you right there. It's A, Tom.
Oh, so much less.
All right, Heath, one more for you. When you land in America and get dysentery, what else should you have invested in? A, commodities. B,
That's excellent.
a put option. C,
Everybody who sells options is so fucking excited about that. It's a put. It's an option to sell.
C, sewage funds. Or D, a backdoor froth IRA.
Divot. Also known as a Santorum plan. Yeah. But it's definitely B, put option. That's too fucking good.
Is not. I'm sorry. It's sewage funds. Sewage. Edge funds. It's like a play on
Put
words.
options.
Hedge.
Yeah.
Fucking solid, though. One way or the other, Cecil, with after put options, you were going to be the winner. So you could have told him if you want. That's fine.
All right, Noah, since you're being so nice to me, you get to write an essay next week. How's that?
All right. Well, for Tom, Cecil, Eli, and Heath, I'm Noah. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, I'll have found a subject that makes Cecil regret his choice. Between now and then, you can hear more from Cecil and Tom on Cognitive Dissonance, the only podcast named after the uncomfortable mental state that arises when you know you're wrong, but you still won't change your mind. You can also hear more from Heath, Eli, and myself on the Scathing Atheist God Awful Movies
Howie
and
Hawkins.
D&D Mindless.
And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
Wow. The guy selling them outside Four Seasons Total Landscaping made a killing on these. An absolute killing.
They're so stupid. They're so stupid. Who called it?
It's
All the
that's
networks?
my favorite thing. It's
the
my favorite
network.
thing that's ever
It's
happened to
the
this
absolute best
administration.
thing.
It's so good. It's so amazing. It's between a dildo shop and a crematorium. You cannot write it. You can't write it better. You can't write it. You can't write it better than that.
And they had to have it there. So
I know they have it. You're
sad.
forced. You're in a corner. You're in a corner. You put baby in a corner. It's amazing. So good.
So,
This episode needs a subcolonic, and the subcolonic is just Heath's joy at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping.
Guys, so good. So good.